Ready to host an extravagant dinner at home? On today's special episode of Homeworthy, we'll inspire you as we revisit the exceptional china and dinnerware collections we've seen from 9 homeowners. From passed-down collections to thrifted finds to the new and bright, their cupboards and servers are stacked with the finest. You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story. Hi, I'm Allison Kenworthy, the founder of Homeworthy, and we're now offering a membership plan that gives our supporters early and exclusive access to new videos.
Hi, Homeworthy.
I'm Roz.
You're here at my home in Los Angeles?
Come on in. I can't wait to show you around.
With this membership, we invite you to open more doors, discovering new homes, rooms, and personalities available only to those with the keys to our guest house. You'll be part of a community of people who are just as passionate as you are about interior design. To access all of this exclusive content, simply click the Join button below to become a member today.
This is the dining room, and again, one of the most used rooms in the house. We love having people over, and this was, again, a huge thing about the apartment and what we were looking for. We wanted a really nice flow between the kitchen, the dining room, and the living room, but again, that each one had its own identity. When we came into the apartment, the previous owners had wallpaper everywhere. And I loved the idea of using wallpaper. We didn't have any wallpaper in our previous flat. And I wanted to do something really that felt like old New York. So when we were looking at inspiration, we were looking at David Hicks, who uses a lot of patterns and florals and the fabrics. And that goes, you can see that a lot in the bedroom and here in the dining room. And we found this wallpaper, which is from Ixel. And it's actually how Ixel does is that these are photographs taken of actual murals in old houses in various places around the world. This one was actually Queen Victoria's bedroom, I think. And then they superimpose it on different colors so you can pick the color that you want. And different designs come with different colors. And we just found this one was the type of green that we wanted because we already had the idea of doing pink in the living room and then green in the dining room and having these kind of like cross the way that the furniture is green in one room and here there's more like browns and it's much darker but still light reflecting with the pink color. So that was the wallpaper and I love, again, because I love hosting, I have a lot of plates and I guess a collection of plates. So we needed storage because the kitchen did not have enough storage for all the plates that I have. And Campbell Ray created these 2 consoles to kind of keep all the stuff that we have that are for entertaining. And I just love being able to pick and choose different colors or different placemats or different, depending on the mood, also the season. And since it's winter, I kind of have a darker green to type of display, tablescape. And I have the Richard Ginori plates that I have in different colors. But these glasses are my great aunt Anna Fendi made them. And they're really beautiful. They're made of Murano. And she took the colors of the different plates that I have. So I have green plates, white plates, pink plates, blue plates, and did this color combo so that it went with every type of plate that I had. And that was really sweet. And it was her wedding gift to us that we have wine glasses, we have champagne glasses. And when we're in the pantry, I'll show you like the cutest like sherry glasses. I've never drank sherry in my life, but I'm so happy that I have these glasses because the day that I have port or sherry, I will whip those out. And maybe I'll have it just because I have the glasses. And then it's not something I never had this on, I didn't have it on my wedding, registry, but we had this gift from a friend of ours, and they're the Bucciolati name card holders. I never knew I needed a name card holder until I got this as a gift, and I was like, okay, now I'm going to use name cards. And luckily enough, I have the most brilliant friend. Her name is Marta Galaz. She has a company called Casa Felix, and she creates the most beautiful stationery, and these are her place cards. I love stationery. I love writing letters. I love like putting name cards, gift tags, and luckily enough, because I have my friend that does this, she supplies me with all of my stationery. You'll see more in the bedroom because I keep all the stationery right by my bedside because that's where I do all my writing. So our favorite thing to do is having people over for lunch or dinner on the weekend. And I am not a cook. Actually, all the women in our family do not cook, and I will continue that tradition. My husband's the cook, and I am the hostess. And I always do the entertaining and the table display, and I said that's always my forte. When he's around, his favorite thing to do, and again, it's his reminder of he's from London, born and raised in London, and the most important thing is a Sunday roast. So we have our friends over for a late lunch, and it's these big plates of, roast and roasted vegetables and Yorkshire puddings and gravy and potatoes, and it's absolutely delicious. But this is kind of how it would look, set up, and then we would have these big plates where people would just dig in and serve themselves. And it's really fun, and we love having people over because he gets to cook, I get to eat it, and then I get to show my plates. So here I have our collection of plates. This is, you could tell that I love plates because I actually don't know if I will ever use it. Maybe once, but just because. But I found this in a vintage store, and they're children's plates, old children's plates from Tiffany. But it has a squirrel, and since, our family crest is a squirrel, and I love squirrels, I had to get it. And they're for Massimo, the day that he can maybe handle a ceramic plate. Today is not the day, but they're so sweet, and I just loved it, and I had to get it when I saw it. But that's the type of thing when it comes to plates. It's going to probably be an ongoing passion of mine that won't stop. So hopefully, my husband will probably kill me if I got any more plates, but don't tell him. If we ever move in the future, I probably need a bigger space for the plates.
One thing that I love about this house is all of the formal spaces. We love to entertain, and we have 2 dining rooms. One is more family, and this one we love to have for intimate dinners with friends. This table I bought, guess where, at an auction, and sometimes I play with this room. I'll make it a round table with books and a big ginger jar and flowers and sort of objects of curiosity that almost feels like a pass-through hall. I sometimes do a dessert buffet in here when we're having parties. And this room is really quite functional. All of the things on the table, we'll be hosting some friends this evening for dinner, are special to us. These glasses I actually bought here in New Canaan at Nantucket Monogram. A friend of mine owns the store, and I fell in love with the glasses this summer, and I ended up buying the entire set. I think I have 40 of them or something for large parties. These napkins are from our wedding that I had embroidered with our duogram. These are our wedding china, Hermes. This is a mix of different silver that we have from my mother, my father, my mother-in-law. And I love mixing silver up. I don't think you have to have a totally matching set if like patterns in your home speak to each other. The silver and the tableware can as well. This is a vintage set that was given to us as a wedding gift. And then my favorite sort of course, equestrian-inspired Hermes serving pieces. I love florals. I love floral decor, as I'd mentioned. It's one of my passions, and doing arrangements like this, just natural botanicals, are some of my favorites. I don't think you always have to use a vase. This is a sort of a beautiful silver vintage bowl that I create arrangements in, and you'll see those throughout my house as well. I think florals are a really nice way to bring a bit of joy into every room. So the beauty of this table is that it can be an intimate round, very intimate for 4. This could probably fit 6. And we have another leaf that allows us to sit 10. Our other dining room comfortably sits 8 people. And on occasions like Thanksgiving or Christmas, where we have a lot of people here, I actually transform our library, which sits next to our family dining room, into another dining room, which is another fun sort of fireside dining experience. I'm someone who really believes in using the good stuff every day. I don't save our china for a formal dinner. I don't save our silver for Christmas. I like integrating all of our good pieces every day. Again, I think it's that investing in your lifestyle pieces, whether it's your wardrobe or your home. Don't put your pretty things away in closets and cabinets and just wait for once or twice a year to use it. I'm someone who errs on the side of formality. I love setting an elegant table. We eat pretty much like this with our kids, teaching them, how to dine and practice being out. I really love to set a beautiful tablescape and to entertain our friends at our home. My husband and I love to cook, and we love to have people over. I love music. I love creating playlists. And so I love, as an extension of what I do in my everyday and creating brand experiences, I love to create my own brand experience and invite my family and friends to join me in that. So in our love of entertaining, one thing that I really do love about this house is the previous owners provided a lot of storage space for what they didn't know, but would be my somewhat abundant collection of plates and that I collect. Whether it's our wedding china or pieces that we inherited or pieces that I purchased on trips or again at auctions. There's lots of storage space, which is great. This dining room leads into a very open concept kitchen. I love the fact that there's a beautiful display case here for our china, but also I have pull open drawers that store quite a bit. I have summer china to dine by our pool. There's all sorts of occasions, special for Christmas, Thanksgiving, the holidays. I really love to create a theme and build a tablescape around that. Obviously, my wedding china is one of my favorites, which is the blue and white from Hermes. But one of my favorite plates are these actually very simple plates that I bought last summer, 2 summers ago in Saint-Tropez. They're just vintage. I found them in the marketplace. I loved them. Sadly, there were only 4, but I get to use them when I have a smaller dinner. And then I'm a sucker for anything cabbage, which you'll see in my kitchen. And these are some of my favorites as well. I love using these for special breakfasts, desserts, luncheons, etc. And it goes on and on and on. This was my parents' wedding china that I have a few pieces of that I love. Sweet little tea sets, special silver pieces from my grandparents that I've inherited. My husband's parents' wedding china as well. So there's lots of significance throughout the home and what we use on special occasions and every day. So as we do love to entertain, which is the theme of this house, apparently, we have a little wet bar here that we actually love and use quite often. We have a wine refrigerator, which basically stores a bunch of champagne, a collection of all of our glasses. These belong to my husband's great grandmother, which I love these coupes, and we use them for everything from martinis to Manhattans to champagne. Again, always use the good stuff. Our wedding champagne glasses that are by Baccarat that I love. These glasses were my father's, from my father's side, wedding presents to my grandparents and then to my parents that have our family crest on it and Bickford inscribed on it that I absolutely love. Some other items on here that are special. These silver trays belong to my mother, as did these decanters, as did this actually. This I recently picked up. I love this pretty hand towel again with the equestrian theme. Here are more of my botanical etched glasses that I had mentioned and shown in the dining room. These are from my father's side as well, just beautiful little glasses with B for Bickford on them, and so on and so forth. Everything is just kind of I love these actually. These belong to my mom's mom, who was an avid tennis player. She lived in Greenwich and played tennis for her whole life. And we have, it was one for her and one for her husband. And we have those that are a special part of our collection as well. So it always reminds me of my grandmother, Betty.
So now we're in the Butler's Pantry, which is really a great transition room between the dining room and the kitchen. And I mentioned I love to collect china and glassware, and so this is where almost everything is stored here. I have my china from when I registered when I got married, and purposely got something that was complementary to what my parents had. So I've made a deal with my siblings that I get that somewhere down the line. So, and I just love pattern and again, layering different designs, different plates. If something, if I see something and it speaks to me, I buy it, and I love these for Christmas. So I have a lot of fun with my china and glassware, and I love using what I registered for when I got married and then mixing it with some more casual pieces as well. But I never just reserve china for holidays. We use it a lot. So when we first designed the house, this whole room was kind of very plain, white cabinetry, white walls, and of course over time had to add some more color. So I had everything painted a high gloss, all the cabinetry in this hail navy, and then paired it with CW Stockwell Remy, which is one of my favorite wallpapers that we carry in the showroom. So we did the walls and the ceiling, and it brings me so much joy when I'm in this room and surrounded by the blue and the pattern.
All right, now we're in my dining room, which is a new addition for me. This, until about 3 or 4 months ago, was our formal living room. As I've said, I've done 3 additions on this house over time, and so until 3 or 4 months ago, traditional living room in here. When we had people over to dine, we completely emptied this room and brought in a table that we have in storage and chairs that were in storage, and did that. So it was a real commitment if you were going to have a dinner party. So we're thrilled to have a dedicated dining space, and obviously we're getting ready for a party. We didn't clean this house for Homeworthy and not get it ready for a party, so we're having a little dinner party tomorrow night. So things I love in this room, you're about to see as we move into the Butler's Pantry. Bob and Matthew like stuff, and we really like dishes, silver, crystal, any things to deal with table. And so this was one of my first purchases in china, or fine china, which is the Royal Crown Derby, Old Amari. And I just love that, and paired it with Mosier, which is German glass, chargers, and then salad plates. Silver is Grand Baroque. All of the glassware is Waterford Mave. And so just love the table stuff. So you'll see we have about 25 sets of china. So, you know, it depends on who we're having and what they've seen. Sometimes it's all in white, sometimes it's blue and white. So today we're Crown Derby, a little more official. Love this light fixture. This was an antique French fixture that was a candelier, meaning originally had no electricity, it just burned off candles. And I just love the subtle shimmer of those amethyst glass beads. You don't see those that often anymore. So was thrilled to find those. And this was in the dustiest antique mall you can imagine, with the most disparate things you can imagine, meaning like toilet tissue holder things that your grandma had knitted. And so this stuck out like a sore thumb, and we went back 4 or 5 times and, you know, kept negotiating. Finally, they lost their lease and they needed to negotiate. So that's a new addition for us with the dining room. So love that piece. And then these, a pair of baker chests, antique baker, for baker I should say, and then an antique sideboard baker piece over there. So got a little matchy-matchy, but they're from different collections, which is fine. Other things, you know, that I love in here, we needed a pair of good mirrors in the dining room. They're surprisingly hard to find. Antique ones or pairs are impossible. If you do find them, they're prohibitively expensive. So I found this is Vintage Carvers. I can't remember where they're out of, but they still do all of their carving by hand, all of their bevel work by hand, and they still do this beautiful water gilt on all of their frames and mirrors. So I just think they're beautiful. They look appropriate. They go with the furniture, and they're just a little different. And then the elephant in the room, which are these tacky, fantastic lamps. I just love these things, and we bought them when we were getting this dining room. We started looking for lamps, and I said at the beginning, I've never met a lamp I didn't like. So these we thought were just like enough to give some gravitas to this dining room. So they're over the top, but we love them. So that's them. Across the sideboard back there, you heard me say I start with a monkey and then suddenly monkeys follow me around. I may be off, but I would say 8 months ago, besides this china, I didn't own a piece of Amari porcelain. Now you see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bottle vases. There's a lot of Amari in this room and in this case, and as we move through the house, you'll see even more. So now we collect Amari because everywhere we go, there's a piece of Amari, so you got to buy it. And so we love having people over. It's so great to be able to have the space and to be able to leave it out and set up a couple of days early, and so it's worked really well for us. So it's a great room, and at night it glows, so we really love the space. Furniture piece, another furniture piece in the room is this French. This is actually a French bookcase. This is a kind of a story that's like, how did it end up there? I had a friend that was moving from Dallas to New Mexico, and so she felt her house in New Mexico was going to be much more New Mexican. And so she sold all of her high French and, you know, fussier things. So she had this for sale. My mom bought it and put it in her house. And when I moved into this house, I said, hey, Mom, you know, that cabinet would be just perfect for my room. And she said, well, what am I getting? So we traded. I had an antique cabinet that was about twice as big as this, which she needed the bigger cabinet. So this comes from my mom through a friend that she bought it. And so it holds a ton of, you know, stuff. Again, I said we collect things, and so I try to corral them where they're just not over every tabletop. So, you know, in here you'll find more Amari, you'll find Perrier, throughout the house, which Perrier we just love. It's, you know, it's was made during the Victorian age, and it was the poor man's marble. And so they did statues and busts of just everybody, and so you name it and there's a bust. So it's scattered throughout the house. And then I have an enormous collection of, again, it started with these porcupine quill boxes. They were made in India. When the British occupied India, the soldiers would make these and send them home as mementos. And so they come in all sizes and shapes, and so I've got way too many of them. But you'll see more of those throughout the house. And then, of course, more of the bottle vases. Again, we started, I think, with 1, and we're up to about 42 of those now. So, yeah, so tomorrow night we're having 2 neighbor couples. That's, you know, one of the things I absolutely love about this neighborhood is we are friends with our neighbors, good friends. And so we're having neighbors across 2 sets across the street in separate houses come over tomorrow. we don't entertain, we're not informal people. So even when we try to be informal and set like a white table, a tablescape emerges. And so I would say we're a little more formal. So this table obviously is a little more formal. The normal, I would say I cut it down a little bit by doing not traditional flowers, so doing more of the plants and just keeping it kind of simple and organic. But the meal, we're having homemade gazpacho. It's one of the things I can do and I do pretty well. And then we're doing a gladly salad, which if you've never had one, you should look it up. I think it's at the Biltmore Hotel in Arizona, and it is the most beautiful salad. You can make it in advance, which is great if you're doing a dinner party. And then it's beautiful. It's sectioned in different ingredients, and then you top it with whatever your guest prefers. So like we're doing a smoked salmon and chicken option for them. And so then fresh bread, lots of wine, champagne, and other drinks, and then a great trifle for dessert. So high and low, I would say. All right, so now if you'll follow me, we're gonna go through to the butler's pantry. So this is my butler's pantry, and during the renovation, this recent renovation, this was really our only eating area. So this was a small banquette with a small table, a couple of windows here. So it wasn't really functional for us. It was not easy for folks to get in or get out of the banquette, and so we just didn't utilize it much. And then I just decided it would make a fantastic butler's pantry for us. And as I said in the dining room, we're collectors of tableware and things like that. And so prior to having this, you know, we had dishes under beds and in cabinets all over the house. And so now we get to store and see the stuff that we use. So we're finding we are using things more often. So, you know, in here we have all of the different silver candlesticks. You know, this is a new addition. Well, that's not the one. This is a new addition that I just bought. That's an antique Royal Crown Derby. Got to figure out one for that. And then Wedgwood Medici and Wedgwood in gold ivy. And I think there's like 5 other there. But what it did is it got us super unorganized, if you hadn't told, but got me super organized. So like these drawers, you know, able to do the cut glass in a way, I open it and I can see it and immediately know what I'm going to use. And so this has just worked out beautifully for us. This is original to the house, the one part of the storage that's original. So, you know, all of the glassware goes in here. So works out really well for us. And this was a major, one wouldn't think this was as major as it was, but I talked about how heavy the plasterwork is in this house. And literally in this butler's pantry, it was raised in parts. It was like meringue almost in parts. And so we went through the painful process of sanding the hallway, the butler's pantry, and the kitchen down to accept wallpaper. And I just love it. This is the T-bow, and it doesn't show in this light, but maybe when we get in the hallway, it has just a slight little bit of gold shimmer. And you know, as you've seen, I like a little bit of gold, or a lot. So I like that kind of juxtaposition of the grass cloth and then that kind of gold thread coming through. Love this little French snow skiing. It's by Jules Hervé. I have a couple of his paintings, and I just love how it captures. I've been there during that time of year where it looked like that, so it reminds me of the journey. And then this girl is interesting to me. I love her. Solid marble, heavy as all get out. And I got her, and there were 3 others. So she's spring, there was fall, winter, and summer. And so they sat on 4 pillars of a garden. And so I got spring, and she used to live in my garden, and then I brought her in at this house. And then, of course, for all of us that drink, constant bar makes it easy for when you have guests over. They can serve themselves. Just send them in here and serve themselves. And then, as you see, more Amari, more Perrier. Again, a year ago, I don't think I had a piece of this. So it's finding me.
To discuss the decor of the dining room, I'll let Philip elaborate on the silver collection, but I want to talk a moment about the room and what some of the aesthetic choices were here, because we were dealing with some very important furniture and objects, and I wanted to tone it down and bring it a little down to earth. Philip was ready to kill me because I banished all the oriental rugs that he had from the last house, and in order to lighten this room with this very formal furniture, we selected this geometric pattern sisal for the floor, and as you see, all the legs of the furniture really pop off of it. The dining chairs were formerly in the collection of Hubert de Givenchy in his Paris apartment, so we're very lucky to have those. And instead of a traditional crystal chandelier, we opted for this Kelly Wearstler modern Strata chandelier. It's got a wonderful matte gold finish, and it's a sculptural element that's unexpected with all this traditional furniture. And then the walls are covered in a seagrass wallpaper, and the ceiling was decorative painted in a mottled gold. And then we did have a nod with the window treatments, a little bit more formal with these mahogany poles and these lovely gilt flesh finials on them.
The dining room is truly my favorite room in the house because it allows me to display a collection of 18th century English silver that I've accumulated over the years. And my favorite artisan is Paul Storr. So the table is set with an entire cutlery, plate, and covered vegetable, and a Perrin collection, all by Paul Storr. The flatware is really amazing. It's called the Stag Hunt pattern, and you can see this sort of homage to Louis XIV with the Roi de Soleil sort of figure on the back of the shell. I also have a collection here of other English silversmiths. This is a vinaigrette made by Crespin, and the weight is incredible. It's about almost 10 kilos. And I have these vegetable dishes by Hennel, and these tea caddies by Romer in the chinoiserie pattern, which are really fun. As you know, tea was one of the most expensive commodities of the 18th century, and these are such beautiful storage containers for them. I have a collection of platters by Paul Storr, which originally belonged to Chateau Groussailles, Charles de Bestéguy. And these candlesticks are by Parker and Wakeland from the 1740s. And what I really love about English silver and its chasing is how it catches candlelight. When the room is all lit with candles, all of the silver sparkles, and it's like jewelry. And the craftsmanship is unlike anything you can find today. What are we having for dinner? Well, I still serve a soup course, which isn't very popular, but I still love to use the silver soup dishes that I have that match this Paul service. And the wonderful thing about silver plates and bowls is that they don't chip. Right. So
they dent and they scratch.
Yeah. But we'll have usually a vichyssoise. Yeah. Sometimes I'll do a fish course with a champagne sauce. With some caviar, and then we'll go on to a meat course, usually a filet mignon, again with a nice béarnaise. We'll have a cheese and fruit course, and then we'll have some kind of wonderful dessert. Eric is a very good chef and also makes a flan to die for.
I'm a sweet hound. And then that's followed by tea and coffee, and we have this modern, if you will, service. It's designed by a silversmith named Georges Leconte, and it's quite rare. I've only seen one or two others of its kind. It has a very subtle hammered finish called martelet, and this was retailed by a famous Paris jeweler called Carré.
We love chinoiserie, and we love Amari porcelain, especially plates from the 19th century, and these were just over the top, beautiful gadrooning, harkening back to the 18th century. And a lot of our other silver meat services are of this gadroon pattern. So it all seemed to work.
And we found them at auction on our first date.
Yeah, Doyle.
Yeah,
Doyle. So we try and mix up the 18th century, 17th century art with contemporary art. And I was in India at a contemporary art fair in Delhi and saw this work by a Latvian contemporary artist called Arbidane. And I'm half Lithuanian. I have Lithuanian citizenship. And I connected with the painting and the artist immediately. I also love collecting old master Dutch paintings. And this harkens back to that sort of Dutch master idea of focusing on the treatment of the tulips and the fruit. And there's so much going on in this painting with different allegories. It's very erotic. This painting is called Sleeping Beauty. There's a Salvador Dali sort of homage with the lobster on her chest. And then there's raw oysters. There's a cat about to eat the shrimp. There are flies. There's a parrot, salamanders. It's a very sort of erotic, evocative sort of painting that does prompt a lot of interest and discussion at dinner. And it's appropriate for a dining room with all of the fruit and the flowers. And the Arbidane contemporary work has a dialogue with this old master painting by Decor. And here again, we have a monkey and a dog and music and wonderful fruit and some game and a parrot. It's just a sort of celebration of culture and food, very appropriate for a dining room. Other favorite rooms in the house is the kitchen. This is really where we spend all of our mornings. I found this oak table at an auction from a house on the main line in Philadelphia. And we love to do what are called kitchen suppers here in the neighborhood. It's very casual. I'm cooking at the stove, so is Eric. You know, it's very relaxed. I don't have the staff here for the more formal dinners in the dining room, so it's even more relaxed and fun. And I've set the table for a dinner using this French faience by Caillot and Longchamp. The chairs are Italian, again, Rococo style. The lantern is, again, Louis XV style with mice and flowers. This used to hang in my ladies' reception room at Blairsden. And I've tried to tie in sort of Louis XV, Louis XV motifs on the table. This is my grandmother's silver pattern, which is Louis XV by Whiting. And I just love the shell at the end of it. I have some amethyst colored pieces to pick up the purple in the plates, and the placemats pick up the blue. These amethyst colored bread and butter dishes are from the 1820s, and these wine glasses are from the late 18th century. And I have to say, I was inspired by these glasses when I saw them. They reminded me of a special I saw when I was younger that Martha Stewart had done for Thanksgiving at Turkey Hill. And she went into her butler's pantry and announced that she would be using her amethyst 18th century glasses with her 18th century spode. And I love that video. It was very inspiring. And Martha, here's a little homage to you. Then I found these glasses in New York, which are really heavy and beautiful. They're late 19th century Bohemian with etched stags on them. And there are a lot of deer in the neighborhood. And then we have a lot of pheasant in the area. So I have these wonderful birds and pheasants from Pierre Deux from many years ago. And my favorite piece on the table is this magnificent terrine from Strasbourg. And the painting is just sublime. It's very fine and brings in more blues. And I think it was Dorothy Draper who said that. A room without red is like a lady without lipstick. So I try and have just a little bit of red here and there to sort of highlight things.
Hey, welcome to the dining room. So this is a little in-between summer, fall tablescape. We're not totally fall yet, but I have my grandparents in town, so it worked out perfectly for setup for the tour. This room has changed a little bit since we moved in, but the chairs and the rug have always stayed the same. We have 2 big storage units in here, if you will, that sideboard and a chest over here that I keep all of my plates and tableware inside of. So it is hidden, but as you see, it's not a ton of space. So that is why you see a lot of plates on the wall. These plates are by Royal Copenhagen, and I loved the way they worked with the brackets that I have these porcelain flowers on by Vladimir Collection. These are all my favorite flowers: garden roses, lily of the valley, and anemones. I have some pieces that were wedding gifts that are on display, and I love how it creates a very me environment in this space. I have a little bit more of my fancier pieces in here that I don't use as often. So I have my wedding china, teacups that match my wedding china, and some pieces of silver. And then over here is the rest of my wedding china, which is Queen Victoria heron pieces. So this is what is inside the sideboard. So as you see, it's not super organized, but I do my best. We have taken the keys out because the kids take the keys and lose them. So a fun piece that has a little story behind it. I have this chinoiserie plates by Miss Alice. I got a whole collection of them for, these are just the salad plates, but I got this whole collection for my 30th birthday. I asked my husband to do a tablescape for me, and he said, you have to give me some direction. And so I said, you can go off that. He had a lot of help, but I did get this for my 30th birthday. So that was a really pretty table and something I could take home. So I used to collect teapots, and then that turned into teacups. I love tea. My parents love to have their afternoon tea, and so I do too. I don't always get it and have time to sit anymore these days, but I did collect a lot of teapots and teacups throughout the years, and I have some of my favorite ones on display on the other side of the room. But my girls now like to have tea parties, and they are very careful, but they do grab what they can take. So I keep most of them behind closed doors now. I love to set a table, and I love having people over. It is something that we don't do all the time, but my family does do it a lot. My mom is wonderful at helping me hand wash all the dishes, and so she's always welcome to come. But when I'm setting a table, I like to keep the florals as low as possible, unless it's truly for some sort of tablescape shoot where it's drama, and then, you know, we make it high. But and then just kind of having a theme. And so these plates just had all the pretty colors in them for this time of the year. You know, it's still 90 in Texas, sometimes 100. So it doesn't feel quite fall yet. And like our florist doesn't have a ton of fall colors. And so it's just a happy and cheery color combination. Our table really only fits 6. We can squeeze 8, but that's perfect for us. New house will have a bigger table. So I don't know what I'll do with all my 6 and 8 piece sets that I have.
These were open shelves when we were here before, or open areas. They were all mirrored. And so I had these cabinets built to hold some of my china, and I have a lot. That's another thing that I tend to collect. You know what? My favorite piece of china, this was the china that when Dan and I got married. This is Schumann, and they don't even make it anymore. And I love it because talk about grand millennial. It's happy, it's fun flowers, and my mother gave me a lot of the pieces to it, and I use it a lot. And then I use it with these little, I have a whole dessert set of these. This is probably right up there with that one, because these were a gift from my mother's, I think for my, I want to say my 30th birthday. And and I use those every chance I get. So I am anxious to have a dining room again, because I do love to set a table, and I continue to purchase those kinds of things. I love cocktail napkins. I love all the things that anybody who entertains loves to use, and I'd rather use those things on a table, really the decorative items, almost more than a lot of flowers, because they have such good memories.
Hello, my name's Alex Papakristides, and welcome to my partner and I, Scott's home on the Upper East Side. Today I am going to talk to you about setting the table and how much I love to collect, and show you all the different things that I have and how I love to mix and match, and just sort of, you know, the magic and the fun of setting a pretty table. So the house is full of all these gyp closets, these little hidden doors, and here is one of our linen closets. So I keep the linens on these wonderful boards that are made for me by my friend Jane Scott Hodgins, who does linens. And because you know I have another business. I have a second business, which is tabletop. Because of my love of tabletop, I opened Everyday Elegance with Lisa McCarthy, my partner, and we do a whole line of custom-made dishes and baskets and linens. So here we'll come into the kitchen. You know, I stack some of the linens together. So we'll set the table. So even when Scott and I are home alone for dinner, we still set the table. And, you know, we sit and have dinner, just the two of us, in our dining room. These are lovely sort of linen placemats. I love them with the sort of detail of the lace, the Madeira.
Do you think it's important to always set the table?
You know, I do, even if it's very casual. I mean, we have so many different versions of setting the table. You know, we also use often these wonderful little, that I think are so pretty, and they're nothing, these wipeable Kaspari placemats that I think are just so beautiful, and they look so pretty with all the different dishes. So we have tons of different sets of those also. Like, you know, how fun is that? So if it's just sort of a quick 1, 2, 3 thing, and we want something super easy, we'll use that. And if we're entertaining, we'd use something like this, or even sometimes when it's the two of us. And you know, it's nice to have pretty things. I love dishes and vintage and antique dishes, and I make a lot of dishes now. But so this is sort of the everyday section. And I always liked, you know, I always use these blue and white Matahata dishes for every day that I love. But Scott found that he really doesn't like eating off of a colored dish. So I wanted something sort of special. So I used these wonderful white Matahata dishes, and they are called Prosperity. And I love the detail on them. They're called Prosperity, and they're copying George Washington's dishes. So I love that. It's a little bit of history. But again, so not only do I collect dishes and linen, I collect glasses. This is our everyday silver. And you know, I'm always from the theory that everything you touch should be beautiful. So this is a wonderful set of Jensen silverware that's no longer made, and it's called Rosencrantz. And I just think it's beautiful. So I've built up a huge collection of it, and that's our everyday. Oh yeah, these I bought at auction. I just think they're so pretty. I bought those at Stair. I would start with everyday items, you know, buy things that you use all the time. It sort of trains you to use your things. So don't buy things that intimidate you in the beginning, because then you're not going to use them. So really, and nowadays there's so many things that are dishwasher safe. Antique dishes, not really, but you know, there's so many great things that are dishwasher safe. Here's our glasses. And again, I like a big variety of glasses. Believe it or not, this is one closet. I have a whole storage closet across the hall with tons of new glasses. I love these. I just think they're really pretty. They're like a little sort of lavender color. They're a wonderful William Yoward glass. Oh, this I bought recently. This is so beautiful. This is Puy Faucon. But I only bought 4 place settings of it, and I just think it's so beautiful. So why don't we set the table with the Puy Faucon today? So pretty. It's vermeil gold. Like, look at how pretty that is. You know, look at how beautiful that is. So pretty. Oh my God, and you know what I can mix that with? So I can mix that with something that I love. So these are our everyday glass that we use for when people come for cocktails. We take these and use them. We have 36 of these. It's a fabulous big, it's actually a red wine glass from William Yoward, but we use it as an all-purpose cocktail glass. And if somebody wants a Perrier or a glass of champagne or a glass of white wine or tequila and soda, whatever, and we use this as our sort of cocktail party glass whenever people come. And I think it's so great because you can find your glass in this apartment where there are so many things. You can always find your glass. It's nice and big, and it's great because you're not up and down pouring people drinks. You can pour them one big cocktail. So, oh, this is a great little drawer. Come here, you'll love this. This is all different collections of wonderful cocktail napkins that I've collected over the years. You know, things that I've had made for me. Porto made these beautiful little cocktail napkins, and then these were a gift from a friend, and I love the way they did the monogram with APSN, both Scott's and my initials. These little coasters are for drinks, so like even, you know, if you have if you have somebody over and you just have a glass of water, you put that down on the table, and they're great, and I love them. Again, by Porto. These, yeah, these little, somebody gave them to me. So you know what, we used these for my great niece when she used to come over and have a little glass of apple juice because she was so little, so it was cute. She didn't want a big glass, so we used those for her. They're like little shot glasses. Okay, so in here, here's some of the great stuff. I'm not sure which drawer has which in it, but, oh yeah, so I built up a big collection of my favorite, which is Bucciolati Tahiti. So this is really special. So it's sort of the original fabulous bamboo flatware. So I have 36, service for 36 for buffet in Bucciolati Tahiti, which is really, really special. And then whenever I'm traveling and I find sort of a wonderful antique center or an antique mall, I bought these and I think they're so beautiful. They belonged to Doris Duke, and I bought them in Houston. And look at them with the porcelain handles, but I bought them just to go with this gold flatware that I hadn't bought yet, but I love that. I mean, and Scott's favorite color is green, so I was so excited to find these. Isn't that beautiful? They're 18th century vermeil, and they're dessert service with the porcelain handles. Look at how pretty that is with the white dishes. It just sort of, it just makes it special and unique. So you use these as appetizers, right? I love yummy home-cooked meals. One of my favorite things to serve is curried chicken in a cream sauce with chutney, with a yummy basmati rice, and I think everybody loves that. You know, I'm not a fish person. I don't serve fish. I mean, yes, sometimes we serve lobster, but you have to be careful about it because a lot of people have shellfish allergies. So I think it's important to pay attention to your menu. In the country, we do a lot of grilling, so we have a lot of steaks. I love a delicious roast chicken. I love lamb chops. Again, slightly polarizing. Some people don't like lamb, so if you are serving lamb, you should probably have a vegetarian option. I always love like a fresh, so we make this yummy salad, which is Chinese pear sliced with Roquefort and watercress, and I do a little Roquefort dressing with that, which I think is yummy, and a very sort of fresh, delicious salad. For dessert, oh my God, well, in the country we use loaves and fishes, in the city we use Lady M. I love those sort of delicious cream cakes. And then also our favorite restaurant in the neighborhood, Sette Mezzo, they make a divine cheesecake. So I'll call them up in advance and ask them if I can have one of their ricotta cream cheesecakes for dessert. And that's yummy. You serve a ricotta cream cheese cake with a little bit of raspberry coulis, and that's delicious. And I love the Lady M, you know, that layer of cream cake. Just the old, plain, simple cream cake. I love Greenberg's cookies. I've always been a Greenberg's cookie fan. I love their sugar cookies and their jam cookies. You know, coffee, a nice red wine with dinner, or also always have a white wine or champagne. And I always believe in having, you know, I don't drink Diet Coke, but I have it in my house because so many people like these things. And to me, my mother always trained me to be a good host and to be hospitable. You're just prepared for everything. And that's really the way to be. Just have choices. So I'm just obsessed with these little hand-painted glasses. And just to tell you, you know, I shop everywhere. There was this little store in Bridgehampton. You know, we have a country house that we share with my family in Bridgehampton called CB Mercantile. They closed, but for a while they just had these charming little hand-painted glasses. And so now I'm creating them with Everyday Elegance. I'm making my own version of hand-painted glasses. But I love, you know, look at every store. Be very open-minded. Don't, you know, just go to the stores you know. Go to different stores and find sort of unusual, wonderful things to the table. And look at how that all comes together with a little bit of green in the porcelain and the lavender in the glasses, and then the lavender William Yoward glasses, and then the lavender walls. And, you know, again, I find that it's such a funny thing. You buy things you love and somehow they all work together. So this, I built this cabinet as extra storage for objects and dishes and tableware. This I call Aladdin's Cave. And just come on in. Look at this. This is just craziness. Filled with all the things I love. So I'm kind of obsessed with these, which my family gave me as a collection. These wonderful salt and pepper shakers by Asprey's and their topiaries. Remember, I love nature and I love things from the garden and animals. So I love these, salt and pepper. And I just think they're so beautiful. And these little Versailles tubs, these topiaries, they're just divine, made out of silver. These are also very special. These, we sell them on my website, Everyday Elegance. And this is so wonderful because it's a pepper mill. So you turn this and you get pepper. Isn't that beautiful? And this is the salt. And I just think they're so pretty. So they're made for us in Italy. You know, tons of sets of sort of beautiful vintage dishes. You know, divine, right? So pretty. You know, wonderful little sets of vintage bowls that I bought at pier shows and things. You know, wonderful. So sometimes when I do, you know, a big hors d'oeuvre plate with snacks, I'll put them in this and put this on a wonderful 18th century blue and white Chinese platter mixed with crudité and chips. You know, divine sets of Chelsea dishes that I love. Again, you know, the love of flowers and sort of nature. Back to my love of chinoiserie. You know, just fun little hand-painted dishes that I bought at shows and different places. I love bucciolati, and I'm a huge bucciolati fan. So I love all these wonderful little condiment containers. Wonderful little, my niece gave me that for Christmas because I love lemons. The beautiful little bucciolati jam container and the bucciolati plum. You know, I love these. So we use these again as little snack dishes. Divine, a divine set of Puy Focas silver vermeil bowls that a friend gave me for my birthday. Tons of divine candlesticks. And different objects. So, you know, depending on how I set the table, I love this beautiful little turquoise porcelain figure set that I use in the center of the table. So I love to mix in antique objects and things. You know, a divine sort of ewer that I love that I found, again, in a flea market, and I just think it's so beautiful because it's neoclassical and looks beautiful with all white dishes. The little frog salt cellar and the little pagodas, wonderful pictures, and I love this. This is bucciolati. This is a little mustard pot, and again, shaped like a mushroom. Look how divine that is. And these are also beautiful. I love these. So again, bucciolati mushrooms, salt and pepper, right? So charming. And these I really love. These are so pretty. And I love them because I love that they both have silver and gold, these bucciolati flowers. Again, salt and pepper. So pretty. So, I love unusual things. And I love collecting all these different things and mix and matching them. And so that your tables become these wonderful conversation pieces, And I think that's what makes it so interesting. And it makes your table individual. Over here, I keep these, which are so wonderful. So this is a collection of Van Day Truex palm trees made by Tiffany's. And look how wonderful. I mean, just look at how they're made. So they take all these different size candles. It's just, the quality of these things. And these vintage things, you just can't find things like this anymore. And again, you buy them at auction. I mean, look at this one. This one's incredible. Look at this big palm tree candlestick, right? I bought that at Stair for $900. Solid silver by Tiffany's. It's like, you just have to watch auction and you just have to look for all these wonderful things and find them. And it's just great. And then I have a whole collection here of little blue and white vases that sometimes I'll bring to the table. When I'm doing a blue and white story, I'll bring these vases to the table. So every time we go to England, I go to Portobello Road and I get up early in the morning, Scott sleeps in, and I go to Portobello and do my little shopping and look for all kinds of fun antiques and objects. So I have all these wonderful things that are memories. This is another story. So this is also flatware that I adore. This was made by Sirimon, and I bought Bunny Mellon's Sirimon flatware. So after I bought it, I was speaking to my best friend, Harry Slacken, and we were talking about it, and he was like, "Oh my God, Alex, you were bidding on that?" Well, I paid a lot of money for that set of flatware. We were bidding against each other and we didn't even realize it. So then Harry I set a precedence for this crazy flatware. So then Harry bought a set and had to pay the same price I did. So we both got cooked. We were both cooked geese because we both bid against each other, not even realizing. So when you're bidding against your friends, maybe it's good to ask. So look at that, how wonderful it is with the feathered handles made out of porcelain. And they were made for Sirimon in England by Sheffield. So I'd always wanted blue and white flatware. So we searched the internet, and these need a little polishing, you can see, but they're so wonderful. So we did this wonderful collection of blue onion knives and forks. So, and I actually love that because I mix it with the Rosenberg silver. So, I love that mix, and it looks so pretty with all these different blue and white dishes. It shouldn't match. It should look sort of interesting and collected, and that's what makes it fun. But I mean, again, this looks beautiful with white dishes, and it looks pretty. It looks so pretty with a variety of things. You know what? It's like anything. Yes, it's something that you see all the time, and it's beautiful. And, I feel so lucky and happy to be up high like this and see the city. But it's something you get used to, You do get used to it. Although I have to say, sometimes I'm standing here and I'm like washing a dish or making something and I say, wow. Look, I'm such a consummate New Yorker and I love New York so much and I'm such a believer in this city. I'm born and raised here and I'll never leave. I love New York. I think it's the best place in the world. And you know what? We've had good times, we've had bad times, we've had good mayors, we've had bad mayors, but it's just the best place to live and the most interesting city in the world for me.
The table, that's my big passion because table, it's like when you get dressed. I never know exactly how the table is going to be. It really depends on the flower that I have under my hands or on my mood. So generally I will mix everything because I think it's so nice when around a table you have a whole story going. I will rarely have 6 or 12 plates of the same. That's very rare. Generally, I choose a link with the color and I will mix the collection in this same family of colors. Of course, you will say I'm very gâtée because I have so many choice at home. But this is also really something I really try to teach when I'm creating sets for my clients or with designers. It's really, I always tell them, think about that when you will have dinner after the dinner, it's important that you don't make always the same table. So when you create a set of 12 plates, please don't take the 12 plates the same, because you will have 12 chargers, 12 dinner plates, 12 dessert plates. Make that the charger is one collection, the dinner plate another collection, the dessert plate another collection, and among all this collection, don't do them in the same color. So choose 2 or 3 colors, so that one day you will have a blue table, next day a green one, the other day a purple one, and when you are 12, you mix the 3 colors, because the things can be mixed together. So really, this is a key point in creating a set. So here, typically, you have the demonstration of what I'm telling you. Because I had all these 6 plates that I just have under my hands, and I put them in a very spontaneous way. You see here, for instance, you have a charger in Raffia Collection Gold, the dinner plate in my Bouquet de Vie collection, and the dessert plate in the Bouquet de Vie. But I could have done very easily this and this, so that it changed the plate. Here you see Verdure, this collection, quite plain, very modern, with a very, very classical pattern inspired by the 18th century fabrics. When I do that, the look is a little bit different. So this is really the idea. Or I may have done this also, to do it more purple. Or I could do also this, to have it more rich. So it always works. And that is a nice thing. So that when you have your guests, they will never have the same table when they come to you. Because at the end of the day, we invite our friends. We don't change friends every day. We have the same friends coming often to you. We have the same family coming. So it's nice that when from one dinner to the other, you don't have always the same table. And so as you cannot have thousands of plates, it's nice to be able to mix, to have in one set different options of table. And also, I think that it's nice, let's say you start with a family like this, but if in 2 years you want to bring some green, it's very easy to just add a little bit of green, and for instance, to move in this style of table. Because as you see here, for instance, these 2 plates are from the same family. So someone who has started with a combination of aubergine and blue can very easily, a little bit after, buy a little set of green and start to mix same collection in 2 different colors. And then little by little add some green. So it's really, it's like when you have your garderobe, you have some basics and you will bring some new and assort them in another way. Let's say you have a very nice black trouser and you have a white silk shirt. The year after you will buy a velvet red jacket, put it on your black thing. So it's really like when you get dressed. You can always accessoire the things in different way by keeping the same plates and adding other colors or other patterns. So this is fun and makes you happy when you dress your table and makes you creative. And this is really the important thing. You have to be creative. and never scared of doing something wrong because they are all matching. So you will never do something wrong. That you can be very relaxed. Here you see I have keep the table, no napkins, because I love the dramatic black aspect of the table. I just put some very discreet placemats. Here there are very lovely one in leather from J. Grain, which I love. It's an English brand. For the glasses, I like very much to use the goblet, my magic goblet. The goblet is something fantastic. You can use it, as you see here, for flowers. If you have a big bouquet and you have just a few flowers left, you just put them in the little goblet and it makes you a nice little thing. I like when there is a little story going around the table. So here my goblet are for flowers, but here the goblet is for water. The goblet could be also something very nice. If you have a starter, a little soup or a little mousse, you could easily use a goblet as a starter also. So here I have my very old crystal glasses that I bought because my glasses of my wedding list were of course completely broken after 20 years, 30 years. So I bought this at the auction. You see they are very, very small because the glasses used to be much smaller than our glasses today. That is a red wine glass. The silver, it's an old family silver that I use. As you can see, it's not very well cleaned, but I don't like when silver it's too much shiny, so it's a good reason not to polish it all the time. So it's a traditional, it's an old 19th century argenterie. As you see in France, the monogram is on the top, is on this side, and on this side of the fork. Because in France, we are the only one in the world, don't tell me why, or maybe yes, I have a version, but I don't think it's true. We are not putting the fork like this, but like that. Someone told me that it was because after a meeting with King of England, Henry VIII, and French King François Ier, during the Camp du Drap d'Or, they were, English and French were always a little bit fighting, and at the end of this dinner, they fight, and the King of England says, so now it's going to be war. And he put his fork like this. So the French people say that the good way to do is this, and this is very aggressive. But I think this is really a French theory. I don't think it's really real, but I give you the story. I love candles, so everything I can find to put a candle, I will use it. So here I have this cute little tulip bowls, which can be used also when you have ice cream or a little mousse. Very nice. Here I use them to put a candle, and so it makes a nice reflection on the color. I use also to put the candle some little coffee cup, the little Arabic coffee cup can become also a candle holder. Then another idea to use shapes in different way. Here, this is an egg cup, no? And I use it for salt. But I could also put a little candle in this. Why not? I could also put a little flower to make a little story on the table. So, it's important to be creative. On the table here you have the crystal carafe for wine. These are my funny cock in silver. This is very English. I find them in vide-grenier, what you would call maybe garage sale. So it was really a nice discover. And in the middle, a little cachepot, my little cachepot, which are nice to put a little bouquet, but it's important that the bouquet remain very low because, you know, important to have a conversation and not to be hid by huge flowers, which may be very nice, but at the end you are alone on the table because you are just surrounded by huge flowers. And this is not the purpose. The purpose here is to entertain and have a nice time together. On this table, so here the story is green, green and green and green. So lots of different shades of green. This is my panache collection that I love very much with this fantastic work of brushstroke. So some may see here a crown of leaves, some may see some feathers, you know, it's your inspiration. This is my Belle de Jour collection. It's an inspiration of embroidery of Charles Jourdain dress that I saw in an exhibition in the Marmottan Museum. Here you have a Verdure collection inspired of a tapestry, a Verdure of the 50s. And it's funny because I started to do with something like this, very figurative, a little bit naive, like Douanier Rousseau style. Here you can choose 3 colors, so it's really very large possibilities of color. And I went into the leaf like this, and it ends by doing something completely abstract. So this is part of the same family, but you can see the process of creation, how you go from very figurative to completely abstract work. So each plate different, and the link are these greens and aubergine tone. For the flowers, I must admit that this was part of a big bouquet I had, so instead of throwing them away, I keep them. They are dry now, and it's fun to add them in whichever bouquet. The colors are mixed, but it works. It's nice. Here we are always surrounded by this big green tree. You remember I'm from the tropic, so it's a reminder of my childhood, Martinique, and it's also coherent because in the apartment Haussmann period, people love to have these exotic trees. It's like also you remember all this wallpaper, Zuber, which de Gournay is inspired. This paper which reminds you some landscape, exotic landscape. Everything was a lot about exotism. Also in the way of using shapes for different purpose, when you have a lovely tea set, it's nice to be able to use it also for dinner. So I like very much the idea that your teacups could become a lovely little soup container or a little dessert container for your dinner. So this is another idea. Really, when you have lovely things, try to use them as much as possible. And this is a way of using the cups.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content, shopping guides, and so much more.